Welcome everybody to another edition of Sports Clash Radio with your host Chad Martin, JC Martin. We're talking Hell in a Cell preview. Excited about it. Love the show coming up.
I was excited about it. Originally.
It was. Why?
Right, yeah. Originally.
What's changed?
Man, just in theory, the idea of 3 Hell in a Cell matches sounds awesome.
Yep.
But then you think these are Hell in a Cell matches. You think...
How different are they going to be?
You think the men's matches probably go anywhere from 40 to 50 minutes. Maybe 40, 45 minutes. But they'll still be in that range. Sasha and Charlotte will probably go somewhere between 20 and 30. These fans are going to be utterly exhausted, especially if these performers do their job right.
Yeah.
And so by the time they get to the main event, whether it's Rollins and Owens, whether it's Sasha and Charlotte, or whether it's Roman and Rusev, whichever one goes on last, this audience is going to be dead for it.
Now, I'll be honest, I think you don't get any more than 20 out of both the men's matches and maybe 18 to 20 out of the women's match. I don't think they're going to go long in these matches.
Well, if your only other main card matches are
you've got
the Tag Team Championship and the Cruiserweight Championship and Enzo and Cass versus the Club and Bayley and Dana Brooke, those 4 matches aren't going to eat up 2 hours of programming.
No, because the that 6 man is going to be in the kickoff show.
Right.
And that's what I mean. I don't think Bayley and Dana is going to go 10 minutes. Big Cass, Enzo, and the Club, that may go 12 to 15 at most. So then you got Fluff, and then you got all their entrances and all that stuff on top of it. So I'm hoping that those matches aren't any longer than that because they'll just get blah.
Well, I think Rollins and Owens will be good regardless. I don't care if they give them 20 minutes or 40 minutes.
I'm excited to see
even if it is 40 minutes, that match, they will tear it up. I just think if they go on as the main event, the audience is still going to be dead for it.
I don't know. We're going to see. We're going to talk about all this stuff coming up. So I'm excited about the pay-per-view. I love the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. I love maybe a strong word. I enjoy the pay-per-view.
It's a cool match.
It's different. I love the gimmick matches every now and then. That's one of the reasons Royal Rumble was one of my favorite matches.
I think this pay-per-view in particular is the one pay-per-view a year where they should make the exception and allow bloodshed.
I agree. Because that's what kind of Hell in a Cell represents.
The whole premise of this match, ever since it was first introduced, is how brutal it is.
This is going to sound sick, but I would love to see the women's use.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That would be awesome.
Because that's not something you see.
No, it isn't. It would be so unique.
I can't ever recall seeing a female wrestler bleed.
Yeah, I really
not on WWE programming, certainly.
So that's going to be interesting. Before we do, let's talk a little bit of Raw, SmackDown, just your thoughts from a couple of the shows this week. We're not going to go match by match and break those things down. We're just kind of what your thoughts were on it. I was really disappointed in Raw again.
Yeah,
it was really a blah show. 3 hours is too long for a weekly show anyway, because what they're doing with it is nothing that keeps you excited. The whole point of these shows anyway should be to entertain the crowd. That's the wrestling business itself, is to keep you up and going and excited to be a part of it. And I just don't think they haven't been doing that. These last 2 weeks on Raw have just been miserable and been almost unbearable to get through the middle part of that show.
Which, they have the larger roster, Raw does, which means you can put more talent out there and give them more exposure. But I think they're going about it the wrong way. I think 3 hours is fine. If you're going to have 3 hours, you can have that bigger roster because you can expose more faces. But the manner in which they're going about exposing these faces just isn't done that well. I enjoyed the match between Rich Swann and Brian Kendrick, which it was good to see Rich Swann get a win because this is his first win since he's been on the main roster and actually giving him some kind of traction coming up for whatever's going to happen after this T.J. Perkins-Brian Kendrick feud.
Yeah, exactly. But, really, and I love Chris Jericho. I love watching anything Jericho related. So
the opening promo with Jericho, Rollins, Stephanie, and it was Jericho, Owens, Rollins, and Stephanie McMahon. That opening promo to start Raw, I thought was pretty well done just because Jericho's that good, Owens is that good, Stephanie's that good, and Rollins is that good.
But I just really wish Raw would get away from the formulaic stuff every week. We know we're going to get 15 minutes, regardless of who comes out there.
Yeah, it's going to be 15 to 18 minutes every Monday night. It's going to start off with a promo.
If you want to do it every now and then, if you've got hot guys that are out there talking, they're leading up, especially when you're you're doing that go-home show for the pay-per-view that week, then I have no problem starting out, especially with the guys you had out there this week doing it. And that's fine, but you've got to keep that momentum up. And when you're throwing guys out there like And I like R-Truth. As a person, I think he's hilarious. You listen to him on interviews and podcasts. He's funny. He's such an intelligent guy, too. But you haven't invested anything into these guys. And really, if you're talking about a go-home show, there's no reason to have these guys on that go-home show if you're really not doing anything with them in the first place. Because you're cutting short a lot of these other things you really need to focus your attention on. I did love the match between New Day and Cesaro and Sheamus.
Yeah,
that was really well done. That one spot they did when Big E launched Kofi over and then Cesaro caught him with an uppercut and just laid him out.
Awesome.
Oh my God. And then Sheamus got in that bro kick. That was one of the times I really got excited about Sheamus. Yeah, I mean, because it was a really well done spot. Now, I haven't been just real thrilled about what they're doing with all that, but Monday night, I enjoyed that. That was one of the highlights of the show to me. And, of course, the main event, I enjoyed that. I did not enjoy Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman coming out there. That whole thing was, when they started chanting Goldberg sucks and all that, they yanked the chain on that promo, buddy.
But it's from the time they came out there, it was a pro-Lesnar fan base.
Well, they're in Minnesota.
Right, which is where Lesnar went to college.
They should have expected that stuff.
But, I mean, from the time he went out there, it started off with Goldberg sucks chants. Yep. Then it moved into Suplex City chants, and then finally culminated back into these Goldberg sucks chants. And it's no discredit to Paul Heyman, because he was out there trying to do his job and to make people boo him. But people don't want to boo him because they know that he is indeed good at his job. He's not good at his job, he's great at his job. I mean, if it weren't for all the friction that he's had with Vince McMahon in the past, I would love for Paul Heyman to go into the WWE Hall of Fame. I think Vince McMahon's a smart enough businessman to one day do that.
Oh, he will one day.
Because that could sell tickets to the Hall of Fame ceremony WrestleMania weekend by itself. Just because Paul Heyman's talent on a microphone is that transcendent.
Exactly. But speaking of that, you got shooting over to SmackDown. You had AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose, and James Ellsworth. I really dig. They are doing this so perfectly with how they're doing that, especially when, that match, any other time, this match, when you're having, if Ambrose beats Styles, he gets the number one contender spot. The theory is, and the thinking is usually always is you can pretty much bank Ambrose is winning this match to get his number one contender thing because they got to solidify that. They didn't do that.
No,
and how they did it was great. I loved that whole setup right there. It showed that things kind of backfired on Dean Ambrose, and AJ outsmarted him and knew what he was doing to get that disqualification because he didn't have to beat Dean Ambrose as far as getting pinning him or anything. All he had to do was what he did, and that's kind of the thing that really ticks me off about WWE is they have some brilliant booking at times. The writing can be excellent, and then other times you're going, "What the hell am I watching here?"
Right.
I mean, is this? I don't know is this Fraggle Rock? I'm not really sure what's going on. That is a big time '80s reference for some of you guys out there, but I mean, it's crazy. I don't get it. I don't understand it, and so that leads us into Hell in a Cell. And we'll start this off with the matches we know. There's probably a couple of other matches they could add, maybe on the pre-show or something. There's a lot of matches anyway, but so I hope they don't. I mean, God.
Well, they got 3 hours, so it's not like they don't have the time.
Well, they got 5 titles, I think, on the line at Hell in a Cell. So, but let's start out with Bayley and Dana Brooke.
I mean, I'm going to go ahead and pick Bayley.
Yeah.
For the win, just because I hate Dana Brooke. And it's not that I'm not a mark. It's not that I hate her character. I just don't care to watch her on my TV screen.
There you go. Yeah.
Like, nothing that she does comes across as effective to me.
We just want hugs anyway.
I think the most effective thing that Dana Brooke has done is when Bayley kicked her ass right before Sasha and Charlotte's match, in which Sasha recaptured the women's championship.
Yeah. There you go. Big Cass, Enzo versus the Club. If they don't put the Club over in this match, then just go ahead and write them out of WWE television altogether.
Yeah, I mean, the Club needs the win here.
Yeah, they have to have the win.
Of the two teams, the Club needs the win unless they lose by disqualification.
Exactly. And yes, we understand it's sports entertainment, but it's like any other form of entertainment that you watch.
You have to get people
movies
to buy
or television.
into them.
They have to. Their characters and their story, you have to buy into all of that stuff.
Right.
If you don't give them a reason to enjoy being around those characters, then you get disinterested in those characters, and there's no threat. the club ought to be the team that is running roughshod over people, and teams like Enzo and Big Cass, even as huge as Cass is, the club's been around a while. I mean, they have.
Carl Anderson's already in his mid-30s.
Exactly.
Gallows is pretty close to that.
And these short matches they've been doing with them, and it's bugged the hell out of me.
Now,
if you don't do the club in this one, they don't go over, then
the club needs the win because people are familiar with them from New Japan Pro Wrestling, but your average WWE fan has only seen them since they've been in the company.
Exactly.
But Cass and Enzo are young guys.
Yeah.
Like
they've got a huge career ahead of them.
Right. Whereas the club guys are on more limited time because they're older. They're longer in the tooth. So I think Enzo and Cass will be fine with the loss here as far as their characters are concerned. It's not going to hurt their standing in the audience's eyes. But the club needs to win because, I would love to see the club as tag team champions. I would like to see Enzo and Cass as tag team champions one day. But I think if anyone should have taken the belts off of New Day, it should have been the club. Because I really hope Cesaro and Sheamus don't do it.
Yeah, because I'm really hoping that the club interferes in that tag team championship match. I think if they don't, I'll say this: I don't really want them to, because I'd like to see a clean match.
But it could be an attack after the match.
Exactly, and then I'd like to see them show up on Raw Monday night, coming off this win against Enzo and Cass, and then getting back into that program.
Now, one thing I did enjoy from the club segment with Enzo and Cass this past Monday was, Enzo and Cass's mics going out and all that.
Oh, yeah.
Carl Anderson and Gallows came down there talking trash. And then Enzo, he's got the microphone tattoo on his hand. And so he just makes sure he belts it out at the top of his lungs. But the whole arena was chanting all of his little gimmick stuff with him and Cass. And so when you can get a whole arena to do that, when you're not even on a microphone and they can't hear you that well, you know that you're doing your job right and that you have the audience in the palm of your hand.
Exactly.
Which only bodes well for their future.
So you're going with the club in this one?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the club in this one.
Smart booking says it should be the club. Let's go talk about the Cruiserweight Championship match. I think they've been, for what they were toting, going to the Cruiserweight Classic and all this Cruiserweight stuff, it's been really underwhelming, again, what they're doing with these guys on Raw, in my opinion.
Booking, though.
It's awful. But this is your opportunity to really make it something. And really what they've done with Brian Kendrick and then him losing on Raw, and I think T.J. Perkins is a logical choice to take this.
Yeah, I mean, because that belt's still fresh.
Exactly.
If you're going to put the strap on this kid and have him debut on Raw as your Cruiserweight champion, you got to make him come across as a star. He can handle adversity. He can handle any threat that comes across him. And I think I think the idea was to build Brian Kendrick as a threat because he is 37 years old.
Yes.
He's been around this business since he was 17, 18, 19 years old.
Yep.
He's, of course, he has the history with T.J. Perkins. They've known each other forever. He knows Daniel Bryan. Of course, he's had a previous run in WWE where he's part of, the London and Kendrick tag team with Brian Kendrick and Paul London, longest reigning SmackDown tag team champions. So I think it was supposed to build that Brian Kendrick is the threat. But what also makes him a threat, not only is his experience, but the fact that he's desperate.
That's right.
But it hasn't come across that way. It's come across that he's desperate because he doesn't think he has it anymore.
Exactly.
And so it's been more pathetic than effective.
I agree with that. And I'm not a fan of bouncing titles around.
I'm not.
I don't enjoy that. I think it just demeans the title
I
itself.
hate the way they built Brian Kendrick for this.
I do too.
Because I love Brian Kendrick.
Yeah, exactly.
He was always one of my favorites when I was, in my teenage years. But T.J. Perkins has to win this because you have to build that title.
That's right. We talked about the Tag Team Championship briefly. So you got New Day, Cesaro, and Sheamus. I just don't think New Day drops that title. They're so close to beating Demolition's record.
Which I hope they do.
So we're going to have that.
I never liked Demolition. They always felt like a third-rate version of the Road Warriors.
Yeah.
And I like Cesaro as a singles talent. Sheamus is okay. I don't hate Sheamus.
Yeah.
I don't dislike Sheamus. But there's nothing about Sheamus and what he does that makes me think, man, I like that guy.
Today, Sheamus got hurt when they turned him face and they took his meanness, and when he first came in, he was so mean. Everybody hated him, and they should have, because he was a true heel.
But now they brought him back to doing that, and no one cares.
Exactly, and that's because of what they did with him in between all that.
But at the same time, I don't trust WWE booking. Which I think, as a fan, that's good. That you shouldn't be able to predict what's going to happen. But this is one of those times where if they put the straps on Cesaro and Sheamus, I'm going to be just utterly confused.
Yeah, I think what this is just going to lead to another break. I think this is just a way to get them for another 30 days or so to keep the program on them. This would be another way to drive that wedge between Cesaro and Sheamus, and then into another.
I think that's all we can hope for.
Yeah, so that's probably what you're looking at there.
Because some people may be tired of New Day being tag team champions, but the one thing you can always say about them is they are consistently entertaining.
That's right.
Week in and week out.
And what I will say about the Cesaro and Sheamus thing is I really think that what they're being made to do, they're doing well. At least they are fully invested in what they're having. They're having, all right, well, they're making us do this thing. So, all right, let's go for it, and we'll sell it. Again, we talked about the tag team match on Raw the other night, which I absolutely loved. It was one of my favorite matches of the entire night, just because it was entertaining. I actually cared about what Sheamus was doing in the match. It's the first time in a long time that I thought I was really invested in that, and I thought some of the spots they did were amazing. Again, the throw over and Kofi and get caught with that damn European uppercut that Cesaro throws was amazing.
And the one thing that we know is that when it comes to being in the ring, there's always that expression, you're only as good as your last match.
Yeah.
But you're also only as good as the partner that you brought to the dance.
Yeah, and they've got some. This match is going to be good.
This match is chocked with talent.
It is.
Like, these guys can come out there and deliver. Kofi has been a staple of the tag team division basically his entire career.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had runs with the Intercontinental Championship and whatnot, but he's made his money as a tag team champion.
Yeah, exactly.
And Cesaro's so good, it doesn't matter what belt you put on him. He can be Intercontinental Champion, United States Champion, Tag Team Champion. We've seen how good he is. Sheamus, not the most charismatic human being.
Mm-mm.
It's not for a lack of trying. He definitely goes out there and tries. It just doesn't come across that well. But you do buy him as a big, rough, tough, bruising bully.
I'm a fan of Sheamus's heels.
But the New Day has their own, muscle.
Big E.
And Big E. He's definitely not a tall guy.
But strong, athletic.
It's one of those things
hilarious.
That he's so good at the way he does it that when you see him throwing around a guy like Sheamus, who's 6'5", 6'6", 280 pounds, throwing him around, you buy into it because we've seen that with Big E consistently.
Exactly. We got the United States Championship, Hell in a Cell, probably the first Hell in a Cell match, because as much as I would like to see Sasha and Charlotte go on main event, they're going to sandwich them probably in between the guys.
I think one of the Hell in a Cell matches will kick off the show.
You think so?
Yeah. When they get to the main card, that one of those matches will kick off the show.
I think if there's one that's going to do it, it's going to be the Reigns-Rusev match.
Right. I would agree with that.
That's going to be the one that, if they do that, it's probably going to be that. I didn't think about that. Good call. So who do you... I think Reigns.
Yeah, he hadn't had the belt very long.
Yeah.
So if you're going to try to build Reigns as, this big bad guy, which, he's a 3-time WWE champion already.
Yeah.
But go ahead and let him have a good run with this title. Keep him out of that Universal Championship picture until you really need him.
You see people getting behind Reigns a lot more now, and so I think and they didn't have to turn him heel. So
right, they just needed to take him out of the title picture for a little bit, just cool it.
And the United States Championship is a good spot to do that. I like what him and Rusev are doing. Because their matches are so different than what you get with these other guys who are more high flyers and can do all this other technical stuff. These guys are just beating the living hell out of each other, and my body hurts physically sometimes watching some of the stuff that they do, because they are just stiff, laying the lumber in there. Throwing potatoes like crazy. There's potatoes flying everywhere. It's ridiculous.
One thing I like about Reigns also winning the United States title is, this is something that really hasn't been mentioned much, is that he's now a Triple Crown champion in WWE.
That is true.
He was tag team champions with Seth Rollins, who is also a Triple Crown champion.
Yeah.
They've both been United States champion. They've both been WWE champion. So I think this is big for Roman Reigns because Roman Reigns is quietly building credentials.
He is.
I mean, it's obvious that he's talented.
Yeah.
Yeah, he hadn't been in the business all that long, but he's been in the business for about 6 years now.
He's an athlete, man.
He knows what he's doing. He knows how to work. It's just really getting him comfortable on the microphone, which everyone's talked about ad nauseum, so I won't bore you with that. But Roman Reigns is putting together a beautiful, beautiful resume.
He really is, and honestly, and this may be some of you guys out there, but I think if you sell Roman short and you're just dogging on him for little peddly stuff, then I cannot take you seriously. Just watching what he does and he goes out there. I get if you don't like him, I can get on board with that just because that's not your thing. I understand that. But to say that the guy can't wrestle is wrong, and it's uninformed to say that. And to say that he is not entertaining because he shows up in these pay-per-view matches and really in any match that he does. If you watch all he shows that he doesn't whiff or go easy or lazy on anything. His punches are some of the most beautiful and devastating looking punches. The way he throws them, I love those. Like big, huge.
They're some of the prettiest
great
punches I've seen since probably Scott Hall.
Yeah, I mean they're just gorgeous, and I love the thing. So, but I got Roman Reigns retaining.
Yeah.
Speaking of the women, first time Hell in a Cell. I love this. Sasha, Charlotte. I'm still really hoping that they main event this thing somehow because I think it'd be great, and not just because of the fact that it's women and we're going to make history because we want to put females
in the main event of a pay-per. Not only in the main event of a pay-per-view, but it's the first time 2 women have been inside Hell in a Cell.
Exactly. Now that's not the reason, but I honestly think these ladies can do it.
Yeah, they can carry.
They have proven they can work. They work their butts off. And years ago, just a couple of years ago, you would say, man, I would literally switch off women's wrestling. Because they wouldn't give them the time to do anything, so you're never invested in it. You have to be invested. What they let these ladies do is amazing because they can go out and work. They've shown how good they can work. And I love watching them go because some of the stuff they throw, God, no, I wouldn't want to wrestle some of these girls just how good they are. So they've come a long way, and they're awesome to watch.
What's hard for me to pick here is you've got 3 matches, 3 Hell in a Cell matches, and I could legitimately see all 3 faces winning.
Yeah. I mean, seriously.
Roman Reigns is in the midst of a fresh title run. Sasha just got the Women's Championship back. And then you look at Rollins and Owens, and if Rollins wins that title, that place is going to lose their minds, and he's going to be in full-blown babyface mode.
Oh, yeah.
He'll be the top face on Raw. And he's earned it over his years in WWE because he's that good. But I don't think losing the belt would hurt Owens.
Exactly.
I think losing the belt would hurt Sasha's credibility if she were to lose the belt to Charlotte.
Yeah.
But I don't think losing the belt would hurt Kevin Owens because we would know at some point in the future Kevin Owens is going to have that title back.
All right. So having said all that, Sasha, Charlotte. Do you think Sasha drops this belt?
I don't. I don't see it happening.
Do you think she's going to keep it?
I mean, they just put it back on her right after the pay-per-view.
Well, I'm going to say this. I think if the women end up headlining this show and doing the main event of this show, Charlotte's going to take that belt. I just believe they'll do that. The Ric Flair ties, the whole family, friends and stuff, I know we want to pretend like that's not going to be a big deal. It's going to play a factor in the finish. If they truly put it on last, then I'm going with Charlotte. If they don't, then I think Sasha's going to take it. That would be the only caveat to me picking Charlotte is if this match goes on main event, I think Charlotte would win this title. So my pick is really determined on that. So I'm telling you right now, main event, if it's main event headlining show, this match headlines it all, Charlotte's taking the title. If not, then I think Sasha retains.
I just think if Charlotte wins this match, if they put Charlotte over in this, then Sasha starts to enter that Mick Foley territory as a champion.
Yeah.
Mick Foley had 3 title reigns as WWE World Heavyweight Champion.
Very short title reigns.
But he was only champion for a combined 28 days.
Exactly.
And that's basically what you would have with Sasha if she loses. Because the last time she had the belt, she didn't have it very long.
No, she didn't.
She had it maybe a month or so before she dropped it.
Everybody was surprised when she lost it.
And then right now she's only had the belt for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So if she drops it here, then like I said, I think Sasha losing would damage her character, whereas Kevin Owens could get away with dropping the title.
We're gonna see. We're gonna see what happens. Speaking of Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens. Sounds to me like you're already going for Seth Rollins in this match.
No, not necessarily, because I know it's going to be an awesome match, and that's what I want. I just want to be entertained. I think it makes all the sense in the world for Kevin Owens to win this match. I think Jericho will get involved. Either Rollins is going to, get over on Jericho, or Jericho is almost going to cost Owens the match. And I think this is another opportunity for Triple H to actually come out there and get involved, especially in a match of this magnitude, which I think Triple H has been in more Hell in a Cell matches than anybody else.
Well, I think what we're really going to see here, because I agree with everything you just said there, because with the brand split, now you're seeing longer and longer angles between opponents.
Right. And I've got a lot of faces going over in my predictions here, but you got a lot of face champions right now.
Yeah, you really do.
And since the brand split, they're all new champions with the exception of New Day.
Yeah.
But I think New Day wins just because it doesn't make sense for Cesaro and Sheamus to go over. But with the other ones, like Sasha, Roman, and TJ, you need those three faces to win their respective matches, just because they're trying to build up these characters as champions and legitimize them holding these belts.
The Cruiserweight one's the one that concerns me. They could go Brian Kendrick there.
Which I wouldn't hate.
I wouldn't either. So that was the one I can see.
Because you could always put it back on TJ at, Royal Rumble or something like that.
And with the way the Cruiserweight's set up with all their high-flying stuff, it's one of those things where you can win at any given moment, really, with some of these daredevil
which is how they've done some of their finishes.
Exactly.
Some really quick out-of-nowhere spots.
Yeah, so it wouldn't surprise me to see Brian Kendrick win that title Sunday, so I don't know, we'll see. But Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens, I just see them holding that off because I agree that I think Chris Jericho's going to get involved. I would not be surprised to see Triple H get involved.
I mean, this may end in a no contest.
It really could, because we really don't know what's going to happen with... I don't think it's going to end in a no contest. Really, I think it's probably going to end up being 3-on-1, or this is where we could see Chris Jericho really parting ways with Kevin Owens in this match at the same time, too. So, because they've been teasing that slowly and slow. It's been a real slow burn, but I think you could see that. But because we've got Survivor Series coming up, we don't yet know who the 5 singles guys are going to be for each brand.
Right.
And they're going to have, they're promoting that like that's going to be a big deal. So you got 3 traditional Survivor Series matches in there.
Yeah.
Those matches aren't going to be quick, short matches. And you know that Goldberg and Lesnar is going to be probably your main event. So I don't know if they're going to have title matches, on those shows other than that.
That was something I was trying to think about too, because now you got 9 championships.
Exactly. So we're not going to have all these titles are not going to be defended at Survivor Series. If you think that, it's not. It's probably going to be a 4-hour pay-per-view. But I just don't see them putting all these championships and stuff on the line.
But you can continue your angles in that Survivor Series match, because if you go, Team Raw, you could have Owens, Rollins, and Jericho on Team Raw.
Exactly.
And then conversely, on the SmackDown side of it, you can have AJ Styles and Dean Ambrose.
James Ellsworth is going to be in the Survivor Series, I'm telling you.
I was literally about to say that.
James Ellsworth is going.
If James
I hope so. I'm such a fan.
Part of me wants him to, just because it's so preposterous.
Exactly.
But every other part of me wants him to have nothing more to do with this.
I want to see James Ellsworth.
I think he ran his course
for his team. That's what I'm hoping.
Oh my God.
That is what I'm hoping so badly, because I think that would be the ultimate happy Thanksgiving week.
It comes down to James Ellsworth and Chris Jericho.
Oh my God, that'd be great, because Chris Jericho,
Ellsworth hits Jericho with the super kick, pins him, and after it's over, Jericho realizes what happened and just goes back to like 1997 Chris Jericho, Cruiserweight Chris Jericho, just throws the temper tantrum. That would be wonderful.
It'd be fun. It'd be great. So who knows? Now I'm kind of excited thinking about that. It'd be kind of interesting. So who knows what's going to happen? That's why I'm picking that to me, that match right there is going to be difficult. But I really don't see them putting the belt on Rollins right now. I think they'll keep it on Kevin. Kevin plays such a good heel anyway, and it's time for him and Jericho to really start parting ways a little bit more. And Triple H has got to come back into the picture to set up this match. I still don't know. I don't think they're going to do the match with him and Seth at Survivor Series. They're holding that out for Mania.
Yeah.
Triple H is going to call Seth Rollins in these big matches wherever he can. And I think this is going to be another one of those.
Because Triple H can come out there and screw Rollins at Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
If you have Owens go over, which I think he should, that should be the call. Kevin Owens wins in Hell in a Cell. Then have Triple H come out there and cost Rollins in the Royal Rumble and have him eliminated to remove him from his chance at the belt of WrestleMania.
Be interesting. Oh, can't wait. Now I'm excited about see what's going to happen.
I think the winner for the Royal Rumble is going to come from SmackDown.
That could be interesting. James Ellsworth, winner of the Royal Rumble. That's just the ridiculousness of everything.
That is
no
not
way they'll do that.
James Ellsworth is not headlining WrestleMania.
No. But the Survivor Series thing could be a lot of fun.
That's possible.
Because there's nothing really on the line there other than bragging rights, and for it to do that would just be one of those feel-good stories. But that's our show for today. What do you guys think? Do you agree with some of these picks? If not, what's your logic in thinking other ways? Because we don't claim to have it all figured out. Just kind of what we feel like from just a booking standpoint, storytelling standpoint. What could they do? What they should do? What they shouldn't do? I mean, but with WWE, you never really know what their thinking is. Sometimes they try to out-clever themselves and
it backfires.
And sometimes they're just obstinate in the fact that they're not going to give the fans what they want. It's just because WWE knows better. And sometimes they get into that.
Because not giving the fans what they want is lucrative.
Exactly. So
at some point, you have to give the fans what they want, or they stop paying attention to your product.
That's right. So follow us on patreon.com/SportsClash, Facebook, Sports Clash Radio, Twitter, Sports Clash Rad. Leave your comments under our YouTube page. Do that. Follow us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like, share, get the word out there. Help us really build this following. We appreciate everybody who's coming on board, who's watching, who's hitting us up on Facebook, on Twitter, who's sending us messages, and those of you who see us around and saying hello and telling us what you think about it. We really do appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun, and man, it's just up and up. And if you guys want to get more of a wrestling fix, from kind of how we approach wrestling, I've been streaming. I have a channel on YouTube. I've been streaming my gameplay for my career mode in WWE 2K17. So you can go find my channel. It's Nightmare_JM Gaming. Nightmare is spelled N1GH7M4R3_JM Gaming. But go check out my career. You can, if you like it, like the videos, give the videos a like. You can always subscribe to the page and feel free to share it, leave comments, let me know what you think. If you think I'm terrible or if I'm doing it wrong or however, whatever I can do to entertain you. There you go. Just let me know. I like to stream. I don't like watching people play video games and stuff. I'd rather be playing them. So, but it's good. It's fun. Charisma. Yeah, there you go. All right, guys. We'll talk to you later.